sentencing today on an OWI?
That would not have been mine.
Okay. So really Bumstead is the only one you had.
Correct.
Have you had any connection with Ms. Bumstead?
I've sent her just correspondence in the mail for letters. As far as letters, I sent her you wanted her to get a substance abuse evaluation. I did send her the documentation where she could find that. And I requested that they send a copy. Generally, I would have to say that the facilities around here will send us a copy directly just because obviously they know who we are. I did not receive one of those, so I'm
But
not
you didn't get anything?
Nah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that got done.
Okay. Because this was a big one. This was a 10-year felony. They reduced down to a 1 year.
Correct.
She pled to it already, so today was the sentencing. Let's just put it on the record. D20-02026FY. It's the Jamie Bumstead case. Mr. Marcus Schmiel is here representing Ms. Bumstead. She has not Zoomed in. She has not contacted Mr. Schmiel recently, and she has not contacted the court. So I don't know whether there's a mix-up or what her problem was about knowing today was the sentencing.
Judge, I don't know if
Yes?
this person over here might be Miss Bumstead.
Okay. Can you check to see him?
That looks like my girl, Morris.
No, it's not Bumstead then. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. You've got to unmute yourself.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Now we can. Are you Ms. Morris?
I'm Miss Bumstead.
Oh, you're Ms. Bumstead. Okay. We
Yes.
were trying to find whether you were connecting in or not. Today's the date for the sentencing, Ms. Bumstead.
Yes.
And Mr. Marcus Schmiel is here as your attorney from the Public Defender's Office.
Hello.
This was that drug case that they dropped down to a 1-year misdemeanor use, and then the retail fraud from the Meyer in Cedar Springs.
Correct.
If there's anything you can think of that you want to say, I'll give you a chance to speak, but Mr. Schmiel is going to speak first.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Schmiel?
Just pointing out, Your Honor, that Miss Bumstead does not have a very lengthy record. We believe the plea offer was appropriate in this matter. I believe that Miss Bumstead could probably benefit from a short term of probation in this case, just to make sure that she stays on the path of sobriety. Other than that, Your Honor, I'd ask the court to take that into consideration, and we would request a term of probation as we requested. Thank you.
Okay. Can you tell me what your thoughts are, Ms. Bumstead, about how you got yourself into this whole thing and what thoughts you have about it?
I made a huge mistake, and it was a really dumb choice, and I definitely learned a lesson, and I'm getting myself back on track and got myself counseling and got myself a new job, new surroundings, and
Do you normally think of yourself as a thief?
no, I don't.
How did you get yourself involved in this at Cedar Springs Meyer with all the stuff that was being stolen?
I was on unemployment and didn't have income at the time, and just made a stupid
Yeah, but I mean,
choice.
seriously, you're going to steal all that stuff because you don't have a job and you don't have the money? Did you ever go to any places, churches, programs that help people when they have nothing? Because there's a lot of them in the greater Grand Rapids area. I mean, for you to just turn into a thief, I don't get that. That's the part I don't get.
I understand, and I don't have any excuse besides that I made a stupid choice. And
Well, I appreciate you being honest. I don't think it's because you're stupid. You used the word. I think it's because you're using a lot of poor decisions when you know better. You're smarter. You're so much smarter than all of this.
I
And
agree.
I'm not talking about who you're with or who you're hanging out with, because you're an adult. You make your own decisions. It
Absolutely.
does sound like things have been better for you with
Yes.
what's going on now, but you
Absolutely.
got to maintain that stability, because if you don't, these are the cases that you end up getting jail on. I mean,
Yeah.
that case started out with the drugs as a 10-year felony.
I understand.
On the use of narcotics charge, I give you a 1-year suspended jail sentence. 11 months and 28 days are suspended. I'm not giving you more jail. You get credit for the 2 days you were in. You have to do 15 days of community service, 1 year of probation, no alcohol, no illegal drugs, no misuse of any prescription medication, no marijuana. There's a $1,000 fine. That's a lot. $360 is the fee for probation at $30 a month times 12. There's a $75 crime victims' right fee and a total of $1,435 on the drug charge. The retail fraud is a $500 fee. Did they take their property back right then?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. So the total is just under $2,000 for everything. That's a huge amount of money for anybody. You got a PR bond, so there's no money to apply. You're going to have to set up a payment plan. You'll be working with your probation officer remotely. They'll contact you as to what you need to do and how to follow up with this, how you're going to set up your community service. What you want to focus on is never being a defendant again. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you. Did you
Do
say
you have
I
any
have,
questions about that?
did you say I have jail time?
No, it's suspended. It's held over your head. You don't do any more jail time unless you mess up.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Just stay smart. That's what you need to do. The way you act, your choices and decisions you make.
I will, absolutely.
All right, Ms. Bumstead, that's it. Mr. Schmiel, thank you for that courtesy. On the
Thank you.
Jenks case, or no, you
Thank
didn't
you.
have the Jenks case.
That's
But,
That's Mrs. Joyce's, Your Honor. I will notify her and let her know. It's my understanding, looking at her schedule, there was a preliminary examination on September 25th or that date. So I don't know what went on there or
It's
what.
probably just going to be put together with that, I'm guessing, but I'll talk with
Okay.
her about it. Okay, on the Bristol case, you had the Bristol case, Mr. Schmiel as well?
That was actually mine, Your Honor.
Oh, that's yours? Okay, well then I'll wait on that.
Ms.
I don't
Bumstead,
think
you're all
she
set.
showed up.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Schmiel. Did Ms. Bristol show up, Mr. Abuxia?
She has not, Your Honor.
Okay, let's put that on the record. It's D20-00202SD. It was a case where Ms. Bristol was arrested for operating while intoxicated second, driving suspended, open alcohol in a motor vehicle, going back to January 19 this year. She was going to be sentenced today on an OWI second, but she's failed to appear. Let's do a $1,000 cash bench warrant. But if you find out what's going on or where she is or why she hasn't contacted you or us, let us know, Mr. Abuxia.
Yes, Your Honor. She was in contact late last week, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on today, but
Yeah,
I will,
let me know.
continue
Let
to
me
reach
know and
out.
I'll review it.
Thank you.
Okay, Rihanna Bashir, you're on the telephone, right?
Yes.
And you don't have video capacity?
No.
Okay, are you at your house?
Yes.
Is that the South Green Meadow address?
Yes.
What's your date of birth?
07/22/1992.
Yeah. And do you live with other people there at South Green Meadow, the mobile home park?
Yes.
Okay. You're before the court right now for what's called a probation violation.
Yeah.
And Ms. Bashir, your probation officer is Mr. Dale Stoner. And while you were on probation on this alcohol-related charge, goes back to last summer, a year ago summer, not just this past summer, but a year ago summer, August 24 of 2019. And they allege that while you were on probation, you got a new case, a whole new drunk
Yeah.
driving case out of Muskegon. They
Yeah.
also indicated that that in and of itself is a probation violation. They said you also missed appointments with us, never set up a payment plan, and technically you were tested positive for cocaine and marijuana back before Christmas, right before Christmas. They're also saying that there were a couple of dates that you completely missed going to testing. Well, it's a lot of different things they're alleging, Ms. Bashir, all of which are considered probation violations. You can either admit them or deny them, any of them. It's a pass-fail. if you slipped up with anything, it's a violation of your probation. So your decision has to be yours. Nobody can make you decide. You have to decide whether you followed all the rules or you failed. If you admit it, I tell you the penalty. The penalty can include jail, more fines, court costs, classes, counseling, and you can still be ordered to pay for everything you were supposed to originally. In this case, the original drunk driving case that we had a year ago, August, there's still over $1,400 that's owed.
She has paid in full, Your Honor.
Oh, Mr. Stoner is here and saying that you paid in full now, so I was not aware of that, Ms. Bashir. Was that just recently?
That's correct, Your Honor.
So
I paid
it
that
took a
2
while,
months
but
ago.
you recently paid it in full.
Yes.
Now, can you think of any questions for me, Ms. Bashir?
No, I don't have any questions.
And you got a chance to talk to Mr. Abuxia a little bit.
Yes.
What are your thoughts, Mr. Abuxia?
Your Honor, I've talked to Ms. Bashir about how any one of these violations essentially is a responsibility for not completing probation. And talking with Ms. Bashir, we realized that there were some positive tests for drugs and alcohol. There was a new case that was brought. However, the missed appointments and the missed testing was simply due to the fact that she was incarcerated. She was in Muskegon County under the impression that they were going to reach out to probation here in Kent County, and they never did.
I see.
Once she was released, she reached out and worked on getting those fines paid off. So in talking with Ms. Bashir, we realized that there are a couple areas that she did drop the ball. But with regard to some of them, she really did try to
Okay,
respond.
I understand that. Yep. Ms. Bashir, do you feel like you understand what a probation violation is?
Yes.
As to the probation violations they're talking about with the new case out of Muskegon, how do you want to plead to this probation violation today?
I would like to plead guilty.
Did you have a Muskegon case after you got convicted of this one?
Yes.
And when you had the Muskegon case, did you go to the Muskegon court and did you handle that, or is that case still going?
Yes, I have handled it.
Did you have to go in front of the judge or did you have a trial? What'd you end up doing?
Yes, I pled guilty, and I have signed.
Did you have an attorney on that case?
Yes.
Well, did you
Just,
talk to that attorney about the case in our court? You know, tell them that you
Yes.
had one already in our court?
Yes.
And the judge in Muskegon, they've sentenced you on that case already?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember when you were in front of me
Yes.
for the sentencing on that original drunk driving?
Yes.
Do you remember that I said that we'd suspend all your jail time, that you couldn't get in any trouble, that we wanted you to be clean?
Yes, I vaguely.
Do you remember me saying something like, none of us are perfect, but we want you to be law-abiding?
Yeah.
How do you think, whether you have an alcohol issue or not, how did you get that Muskegon case so quickly after our case, where you're driving intoxicated?
I was just going through a really hard time in my life. At that period of time, I was homeless, so it really got.
But you had a
really
car,
Yeah, I had a car, but it
but
was
you weren't
just really
supposed to be
hard for me
driving
at
it when
that
you're
time.
intoxicated. You put people's lives in risk.
Yes,
Yeah. Do you have kids?
I have a son.
Does he live with you?
He was here with me this summer, but he goes with his dad for the school year
How old is he?
because he's 10.
10 years old, that's fourth grade. That's old enough to know. They're smart at fourth grade. I think they're like little adults.
Yeah, he's very smart.
Well, here's the bottom
I
line,
did
Ms.
really-
Bashir. I stayed true to what I had said to you originally. You know, if you stay clean, you don't do any jail time. I know that you got jail time from Muskegon. That's separate and distinct from us. Ours is going to be a 15-day jail sentence, 15 days. We're going to terminate your probation, so you won't be working with us and Muskegon, even though, to be honest, you didn't do much of anything on our case. Classes, counseling, treatment, community service, none of it got done. I get that you paid your fines, better late than never. But when you're looking at getting a new case, you're being punished now for something that happened a while ago. And I get that it's been a delay. Today is Monday, the 28th of September. Friday is October 2. You have to report to the Kent County Jail Friday this week. So I give you a few days to get ready. Friday of this week, October 2 by 5 p.m. to serve 15 days, and they can give you credit for time served for any good time behavior. I don't get involved in counting the exact days. They're looking at 15 days and they may cut it short with people at the jail. I'm not positive. But it starts Friday, October 2, 15 days, and then you're completely done with us. I'm not going to add more fines on, but your probation is definitely going to be terminated with us. But I've got nothing to do with the Muskegon case. So if you're on probation or anything with Muskegon, you got to follow up exact. Do you understand, Ms. Bashir?
Yes.
Any questions for me?
No.
I don't mean to be problematic or buggy in any way, but if you didn't appear Friday by 5 p.m. at the jail to turn yourself in, your penalty will be higher.
Okay.
I'll just say it like that so you know what's on the line. I do have some people that I order to jail and they don't show up. It does happen. I'll be honest. It does happen. But when it does happen, they almost always double or triple their time. Okay, that's it. Thanks for your courtesy. Thanks for zooming in. Get a hold of the jail by Friday.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. Jacob Swinehart, are you there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Swinehart, is that Wimbledon apartment still good?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your file is D19-03247FY, which means it goes back to the year 2019. It was a drug-related charge way back September. I'm talking a year ago, September 2019. Today's the date set for technically for the formal probation violation. You had indicated that you wanted to plead not guilty. I think at one point you failed to appear a week or 10 days ago, and I'm not entirely clear what that problem was. Do you remember?
Yes, Your Honor. I just had a few things on my plate and it had slipped my mind. That's completely on me.
You knew about it, but you kind of had overlooked it. Fair enough?
Correct.
Well, we've all done that before with different things, but when you're dealing with a court, it's probably
should be
not the
first
best thing to
priority.
forget about. Tell me again?
I said it should have been first priority.
Well, I mean, your health is probably first priority, but I get what you mean. You just shouldn't put it on the back burner. And I get that
Yeah.
stuff like this can get overwhelming and your plate can get really full. They're alleging that you failed your probation on this case that goes back to the drug charge with not completing all your community service, missing some of your counseling, not paying all your money, and having a completely new case out of Wyoming. Any one of those violates you. Not altogether, just any one. I talk about probation as being like a pass-fail. Can you think of any questions for me?
Only with the $80 for when I had talked to Nicole a few times about it. I had come in for my meeting and I had money on my debit card and she said it was a non-public case, so I had to pay in cash or something
I
along
see.
those lines.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
I hadn't
So there
thought
were a
of it
few
like that
times-
before. So
Yeah,
you
there were
were
a few times
prepared
I
to
tried to
pay,
pay that.
yeah, you were prepared to pay, but couldn't because of the debit card
Correct.
and the Holmes youthful trainee status, yeah. Well, really, that's probably for your own protection, to be forthright. But here's the bottom line. That $80 is not the issue for me.
Yeah,
The other
I
things
know.
they're talking about are much bigger. And like I said, any one of which is a pass-fail. The Wyoming case is pretty significant if it occurred. And it sounds like possibly you got the Holmes Youthful Trainee status in Wyoming, which might sound like you got another deferment, like our drug case. But you got to decide. You're either responsible or you're not, and you'd be the one to make the decision. You had a chance to briefly talk to Mr. Abuxia. Mr. Abuxia, is there anything you can think of that you want to say?
Your Honor, I did speak with Mr. Swinehart briefly. I would like to note that he does have a broken foot right now and has a doctor's appointment on the 2nd, which would be Friday, to determine whether or not he needs surgery on that foot.
Oh, yeah.
He
Okay.
was working steadily until that foot injury.
Uh-huh.
In talking with Mr. Swinehart, he also realizes that any one violation is a violation of probation, and so I think he's ready to move forward.
Okay. I appreciate that. Mr. Swinehart, you see your doctor on Friday this week?
Yes, Your Honor.
How'd you hurt your foot?
I was hanging out with a couple of friends, and it was a really stupid decision, but they had dared me to jump off of a balcony. It was only a first-story balcony, but I still
Not
made
to be
dumb
funny, but
decision.
was there alcohol involved?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. So when you go back to this probation violation they're talking about, I'm not trying to be buggy again, but you got charged with a 4-year felony on this case originally. The drug charge was a 4-year felony. Didn't it mean a lot to you to have that felony dropped and then it's a misdemeanor?
It did, Your Honor, but at the time I was younger. I've matured over this year, and I realized how much of
Okay.
an advantage that gave me to do this probation and later in
Uh-huh.
life. And it just took me a minute to realize like the break that I had gotten.
Okay, I
When they
appreciate
did.
that honesty. Yeah, I appreciate the way you're looking at it. I get what you're saying. As to the technical violation of your probation, in terms of did you violate your probation or did you not, how do you want to handle that, Mr. Swinehart? Do you want to admit responsibility or deny?
I'll admit it.
So you actually got a new case in Wyoming, and that was, if you will, during the period of time that you were being less than mature, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
That case was not necessarily drug-related. It had to do with a larceny. What was that?
I had been working at Citgo, and when I would go back in the refrigerator to stock the shelves, I would drink the Red Bulls and the drinks back
Oh.
there, and they
So
had
it
put a
was-
camera back there,
Oh, yeah.
and they caught me doing that.
We get a lot of those, to tell you the truth. And sometimes they'll charge people with embezzlement for that when they're an employee taking product. Yeah. Well, you're smarter than the way you acted. Let's just put it that way. Because the Red Bull's not yours. You pay for it like everybody else, regardless, unless the employer gives you some deal or something. But, to do something without their knowledge, without asking, it puts you in a predicament like this. And then, of course, it adds to the hassle because you were already on probation to us, yet you got a first-time offender program with them, which is, I think, amazing. You get the drug deferment with us, and you get the first-time offender with them on the larceny. And really, I'm not doubting that you've matured and you've learned, but you're the only one that can control you. You're the only one that can decide how you're going to do things. And I just say, without even knowing you, which I say to a lot of people, Mr. Swinehart, I'm sure you're way smarter than how you were acting. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, well, here's it. I'll accept the fact that you've pled guilty or admitted responsibility, I'll say, to the probation violation. We're going to terminate your probation. I know you won't have Nicole Brown. You won't be reporting to our court. It's going to be a straight termination. There is going to be a 15-day jail sentence, which, was given as from the beginning, you knew that with that felony going down to a misdemeanor, you don't serve any jail time unless you mess up. That's what this is. I anticipate that there's not much money left. They said that $80. I'm going to waive the monies, so I'm not going to have the $100 late fee, and I'm not going to have the $80 paid. I think the explanation about the debit card was sufficient for me, and the 15 days will cover it. I'm expecting you never to be a defendant again. I'll give you a report date of October 9, which will give you the time to get to your doctor's appointment this week, Friday.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Any questions? Yep. Okay. And the first time offender program, the deferment, it does get revoked, which does mean
Okay.
that the Secretary of State will come in and take your driver's license away for a period of time. So just be alert to any of the paperwork you get from the Secretary of State.
Okay, so it's a complete suspension. So I am going to have to find rides to work when I start again into my doctor's appointment, or am I going to have?
I believe it's a 6-month suspension with 30 days that you can't drive, and then after that they give you a restricted. But it depends on your prior driving record and your prior drug record, which I don't think you had any.
Yes.
I don't take your license away, but the Secretary of State does, and it's automatic on a drug charge. But it's usually like
Okay.
I just said, a suspension for a short period of time and then a restricted for the rest.
Okay, thank you.
They'll tell you exact.
All right.
All right, thank you for listening to us, and thanks for zooming in today. I really appreciate your courtesy.
Yep, thank you.
All right, Mr. Swinehart, thank you. Okay, Mr. Abuxia, on that Thaddeus Jenks, that's the one that Laura Joyce had?
I'm here, Your Honor.
Oh, you're here. Okay, great. Ms. Joyce, on that
Yes.
Thaddeus Jenks case, it's D20-00045SM. It was his case with us on a domestic violence with Brandy Jenks, and then he had an allegation of a probation violation. If my memory serves me correctly, if my memory serves me correctly, you've got him on some felonies, right?
Yes,
Or a
I do,
felony?
yes. Yes.
But when we had our last PC or something with your felony with Mr. Jenks, he wasn't there, was he?
Right, that was on Friday, Your Honor.
Oh, it was on Friday? I'm sorry, Ms. Joyce, it gets kind of mixed up with me.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so this is what I want to say. Have you heard from him at all?
I haven't, I think you issued a bench warrant, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah.
In the felony cases, I should say. I think you issued a
Yes, on
bench
the
warrant.
felony one, right. Well, I'll do a $500 cash bench warrant on this case. Angela DeWinter is here in the courtroom. She's his probation officer. She's not heard from him either, although she's made attempts.
Okay.
So if you track him down, realistically, we'll probably be able to work out this case with the felony case, to be forthright. I'm not looking at trying to stack them on top of each other, but I want to hear, where is he? I want to find out what's going on. Where is he?
Right.
That's all I want to know. And I can't remember if the other one already got to the prelim stage and he didn't show up for that too. So it was back-to-back weeks that he missed, and now we've got this. So all I want to do is just try to figure out what's going on. And if you come up with an explanation where we know he's locked up somewhere else in another county, well, of course, I'm going to review everything I've done on his cases, because he can't be here if he's locked up. But that's the only reason I would think he couldn't call us or come here or talk to us,
Right.
Okay, now, did you have anything else going on right now, Ms. Joyce?
No, I
With
did.
us.
No, Marcus called me and said you were talking about Mr. Jake, so I decided to show up.
Yeah. Wow, you're Johnny on the spot then. Thanks so much for popping in.
No problem.
Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Okay.
Thank you, Your
we'll
Honor.
catch up with you later then. Thanks so much.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You bet. Hold on one second.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. No, you're good. Sorry. I thought Amanda was going to ask you a question. Yeah.